Who is the strongest Sternritter? The Sternritter are some of Bleach's strongest characters, but clearly not all of them were made equal, and especially with a bunch of them having abilities that look just as busted as each other, it raises the question of who really is the strongest Sternritter, which is exactly why in this video I'm going to quickly go over each and every named Sternritter and share my slightly serious tier list. Now, just a few quick disclaimers. First of all, in case it isn't already obvious, this video will contain some pretty major spoilers if you're not caught up on the manga. Second, because I want to include every Sternritter, this list will include Uryu. Finally, I won't be including Hubert or Shaz Domino on this list because while they are both named, we never really saw their powers. But with that out of the way, let's start at the bottom of the alphabet and work our way up. So first we have everyone's favorite zombie girl, Giselle. So Giselle, okay wait, another disclaimer. I know I said this is a slightly serious tier list, but we're also trying to decide who's strongest, so each of these tiers will be listed in order. Anyway, so Giselle. Giselle's thing is zombies. On a battlefield, this is great because battlefields have dead bodies. But unless she has a bunch of zombies, Giselle isn't actually that strong, so she goes in the baby tier. Next we have Royd Lloyd and Lloyd Lloyd, who both share the yourself. Lloyd is the one who can copy abilities, and Royd is the one who can copy memories and personality. Ordinarily, I would rank Lloyd higher, but then I remembered he lost to Kenpachi as Kenpachi. So I'm putting Lloyd in the trash tier and Royd in the honest Andy tier since his power is strong but very simple and pretty straightforward. Next, we have Lily Barrow, the X-axis. Lily, as one of the Schutzstaffel, is stupid strong, especially in his higher forms. Plus, his ability to always hit his targets is pretty busted. Plus, his near immortality makes him almost impossible to kill. So it's pretty obvious that he should go in the busted tier. Next, we have Nyanzol, or whatever his name is, the Wind. I'm not gonna lie, I kinda forgot this guy even existed. Which is weird because he rolls up to the royal palace with Yuha Walk. But his ability only lets him deflect stuff, and he doesn't seem all that strong since he dies pretty quickly. So I would put him in the baby tier right below Giselle. Next we have Gremmy, the Visionary. And I'll be honest, his ability seems pretty busted considering it's so similar to Gerard's. But unlike Gerard, Gremmy isn't all that strong on his own. Plus, his ability has the unfortunate effect of turning against him if he feels like he's going to lose. So while he did give Kenpachi a really good fight, I'm placing him in honest Andy tier just below Royd. Next we have Nanana, or what is it? Na-na-na. This might be a bit of a hot take, but I'm actually placing him in the honest Andy tier. First of all, his ability is very straightforward. I creep on you, I trap you. And the fact that he could stop Aizen is a crazy feat. But the whole premise of his ability is he has to sit there and stare at you for a really long time. This is great for sneaking up on people, but not so much in a one-on-one fight, which is why he goes in the honest Andy tier. And with that, it's time to talk about Candace.
Who's Candace?
Actually, before I do that, make sure to like the video if you're enjoying it so far. It's the easiest way to support the channel, and it helps spread the video to other viewers like you. Anyway, next is Candace. And Candace is pretty strong. She can shoot lightning, and she even managed to fight Ichigo. But her power is pretty straightforward, and she never even did any real damage to Ichigo at all, actually. So, as much as I hate to do it, she goes at the very top of baby tier. Next, we have James and Mask, who shared the Superstar. And to be fair, this is definitely an annoying ability. Because of it, Mask was able to beat 2 captains by himself. But he also lost to Renji, and no disrespect to Renji, but he doesn't exactly have the strongest abilities. So Mask and James can both go at the top of trash tier. Now for this part I'm gonna do Jerome and Berenice at the same time because they're basically the same. In case you forgot them, these are 2 of the characters that fought Kenpachi in the beginning. And of course they got clapped. So pretty easy trash tier for these guys. Next, we have my favorite of the girl Quincy's, Menina McCallan. Now, why do I like Menina so much? Well, besides certain scientific qualities, I also like her ability where she gets all buff. Again, purely scientifically speaking, this is a quality ability. Plus, this ability literally makes her stronger, so naturally she's really good in a fight. Because of that, I'm placing my girl right in the middle of the Honest Andy tier. So next we have Driscoll the Overkill, and I would place him in trash tier because the whole premise of his ability is that he has to kill someone to get stronger, and his ability doesn't have any practical use besides that. But considering he was able to beat Yamamoto's vice captain, I'll give him some credit and place him in baby tier right above Giselle. Next, we have Robert, who is so useless he doesn't even have a named shrift. Like, dude literally just goes around with a gun and catches L after L. But, considering he did manage to stand toe-to-toe with Shunsui of all people, I do have to give him some credit and place him in baby tier. Next, we have one of the most broken characters on this list. Gerard the Miracle. His ability lets him manifest miracles from his and his enemies' thoughts and feelings, which shouldn't be confused with Gremmy's ability. Obviously, this makes Gerard very OP, as it takes a bunch of captains to stop him, and he's one of the few characters to make Kenpachi use his Bankai. Well, he's the only character technically, but I think you get the idea. Now, I'm going to place him in the busted tier, obviously, but I actually think he goes above Lily. And the reason I say this is because, while Lily can regenerate and it's hard to cut him, you can avoid his ability if you're fast enough, and he's not impossible to kill. Gerard is much harder to kill because of his miracles, and his ability gives him way more of an advantage over his enemies. So I'm placing him in busted tier above Lily. But next we have Pepe. Whoa. Yeah, I don't like Pepe. He's gross. He's annoying. He somehow manages to be more annoying than Mask, which is the only feat he really has. So I'm placing him at the very bottom of baby tier. Now, moving on, another trash character we have is BG9. Another character that is so trash that not only does he never reveal his shrift, but he also loses to Omeda and Soyphone. And as much as I love my girl Soyphone, and as much as I think she's an underrated character, I also can't deny that she's not exactly the strongest of the captains. So it's really no question that BG9 is a trash tier character. Next, we have one of my biggest hot takes in the form of Kilgay the Jail. And my hot take is that Kilgay is stronger than like 80% of the characters on this list. Mind you, his ability lets him trap just about anyone. He was able to trap Ichigo no problem. Plus, he's able to give Ichigo a pretty fair fight, and although we didn't get to see it, there's a serious question of how he would have lasted against Ichigo's Bankai, considering he wasn't even damaged by a Getsuga Tensho. So I'm gonna go on a limb here and place Kilgay in the sweaty tier since he definitely isn't broken, but he's clearly very strong. But going back to trash characters, we have Kangdu the Iron. And look, I like steel types as much as the next guy, but iron abilities in Bleach are trash. Plus, Kangdu lost to Toshiro, who's definitely strong, but also doesn't have the most innovative Bankai either. At least not when he fights Kangdu. So Kangdu clearly belongs in trash tier. Now, next up is one of the more controversial characters, Bazby the Heat. And I say controversial because of his fight with Ugram and how he kinda sorta maybe gets his ass kicked. For that reason, I'm actually placing him at the bottom of sweaty tier. Next, we have Lil Tolto the Glutton. And this should be a straightforward one for everybody because while she's clearly strong, she doesn't really have a particularly strong ability. So I'm placing her in the Honest Andy tier right below Meninya. But next, we have Asnot. And while it might surprise some people, I'm actually placing him in baby tier. The reason for this is because his ability seems OP at first, but in reality, it's only strong if the enemy can't control their fear. So stronger enemies like Rukia are able to beat him basically no problem. But his ability is still pretty strong, so I'll place him at the very top of baby tier. Next, we have Bambi Etta the Explode. And all I'm gonna say is that she lost to Komamura, a cool character with one of the weakest Bankai in Bleach. Because of this, I'm placing Bambi in baby tier right above Robert. Now, next up we have Askin, and this is definitely gonna be a hot take. Askin the Death Dealing definitely has a busted ability for sure, but when you really think about it, it shouldn't be that hard to kill him. He's a good fighter, tier, but far from the best. And his ability is OP. But his ability only works if you don't kill him. If you kill him early, then that's it. This may sound dumb considering how tough it is to actually kill him in the story, but just logically speaking here, his ability really isn't that broken when you think about it. So I'm placing him at the very top of sweaty tier. On a similar note, I'm placing Pernita in the sweaty tier right below him. And the reason for this is because Pernita's ability, the compulsory, only lets him copy other people's abilities. So again, if you can overpower him and avoid his nerve thingies, then he's really not all that broken. But that just leaves us with the two strongest Sternritter, Yugrum and Uryu. Yugrum, of course, has the balance, which lets him manipulate fortune and misfortune, and Uryu has antithesis, which lets him reverse any event between two targets he designates. These are easily two of the most busted abilities in Bleach without a doubt, and two of the strongest characters in Bleach. So there's no question they both go in busted tier. And to be honest, I think you could argue this one both ways. On the one hand, Yugrum was definitely about to beat Uryu in their fight, so that should be evidence that he's clearly stronger. But if we're talking about who's more busted, I kinda think Uryu wins that one. They both have reversal abilities, meaning they're both reactionary. But Uryu's ability isn't limited to just two concepts. As we saw, he can reverse just about anything he designates. Other people, locations, traps, even the effects of Bankai. So for that reason, I'm placing Uryu at the very top of the busted tier. And with that, we finally know who the very strongest Sternritter is. But I'd like to hear what you think. How would you rate all of the Sternritter? What changes would you make to the tier list? Share your thoughts and see what everyone else has to say down in the comments. I'll pick my favorite and share it as comment of the week on my community tab. And if you'd like to join me for another discussion like this one, then check out my live streams every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. In those live streams, I react to new manga chapters as well as discuss other anime and manga topics. Also, make sure to check out my Bleach playlist with other videos, which you can find linked right here. For now, thank you for watching, and I hope to hear from you soon.